people, we love to make things. To do it yourself. To DIY. In the attic, the basement, the backyard, and in front of a camera. And those camera DIYers, they've got something you'll like. From the TV studio to the studio apartment, they're making something up just for you.
Rolls down.
It's That DIY Show. Today,
let's get snapping.
Alex Hayter lights up our day with a picture-perfect project. And Viewer's Choice has pro tips you won't want to miss.
Every plant I touch dies. Come on, buddy.
Some books don't really stand the test of time. Let's talk fabric.
A book bag upcycling project, the Hive Mind makes magic with magnets, and we go behind the curtain with a crafty glass blower.
I had to buy a special glass so it expands and contracts at the same rate so it doesn't crack.
The art and craft of glass, a book to handbag transformation, and more. But first, we're off to the loft on That DIY Show.
Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Hayter. I've got a super photogenic little upcycling project for you. Yes, photogenic, not only because it's going to be beautiful, of course it will be, but because we're going to be shedding some new light on these old forgotten cameras by turning them into a lamp. Let's get snapping. First, we have to deal with the base before we get to the real action. So what we have to do is drill a hole directly in the middle of the base and then drill another hole through the side. They're going to meet in the middle. We have this threaded tube. We'll put it right through the middle here. The wire will go directly down and then it will come out the side of the base, plug into the wall. These cameras need a solid base to stand on, and maple is just the perfect wood for that. It's sturdy, it's heavy, and it's a treat to work with. We'll have our beautiful cameras that will go down the middle. Then we have the bulb and the shade, and we're good to go. We got a beautiful lamp. The camera's the focus of this project, but I have some other things to deal with. The base being one of them before we get to that. Let's get drilling. I made a mark directly in the middle of the base. I'm drilling a 1-inch hole, but you do not want to go all the way through. Brad point bit, super great for poking holes in maple. That is a terrible sound. We're going for the 3-way intersection. Side, from the base, and now we're going in from the top. Hey, we're through! Good job, Alex. Okay, I'm gonna clean up, and then I'm going to go to town on this thing with the block plane. This side looks really good. A little bit of a tear. For not using a block plane that much, I think I did pretty good. Smile. And what I'm gonna do, well, the plan anyway, is to drill a hole through the top of the viewfinder, comes through the gate, and then it goes directly at the bottom. This guy is called the Square Shooter 2. Super Shooter. Those are sweet names for cameras. Let's clamp down the old Super Shooter. I'm gonna say Super Shooter so many times just because I love the name Super Shooter. Super Shooter is good to go. Super Shooter. Oh, come on, Super Shooter. Okay, we're moving. I went through! Yes! Way to go, Alex, way to go. And perfectly at that. Amazing. Lights, camera, action. Or is it camera, action, lights? Yes. Anyway, got a lot of stuff on the go. Got my 2 cameras, lots of hardware, my base, and this cute little light socket. That'll come later. First things first is getting this tube in the bottom. Got a little brass washer, and I'm going to put that through the bottom, Put the nut on, and you just wanna have about one thread at the bottom. And then, pull it up. And then I gotta put the nut on. Okay, it's time to put the cameras on. So right now it's just a tube and a base holding two vintage cameras together. I think it's time to turn this puppy into a lamp. Bring in the wires. Wire. So we're gonna thread it through the side hole, bring it out the bottom hole. Then you're gonna bring out enough length of the two cameras plus a little more. And we're going to put a knot in it. Then what we're going to do is feed the wire up through the tube, and we'll stop there. Voila! You gotta tear this little socket apart, and then we connect. Put it back together, and we're almost finished. It's all plugged in. Shade first. I need to be a little taller here, but it's gonna work. Sparking. There we go. I love the way this project turned out. You know, we could just leave it here, wrap the day, cut, but I still got some film in the can. I'm gonna take all of this beautiful film, well, maybe not all of it, but as much as I need, and wrap it around the shade. Bye. And cut on the film. All right, so I'm just gonna glue it to the shade, and then what we'll do later is just go around and trim it. I think that's the easiest way to do this. I'm just gonna keep this color scheme going. See all this extra stuff? That belongs on the cutting room floor. Gotta get that gone. Can I get a drum roll, please? It's the world premiere of the Super Shooter 1000. Yes! I love this thing. I think the only thing I would have changed was when I picked out the lampshade, I would have got something that was more of a cylinder so that it would be easier to get this film around, make it a little more perfect. But other than that, as far as the base and the cameras go, I think it's fantastic. It's a great looking lamp. It's made from upcycled materials. It's literally picture perfect.
We've got hands and we've got plans. What more do you need? It's That DIY Show. From bright ideas all the way to dark workshops. It's That DIY Show. Ready transmission.
A handbag from a book? Hi! Books? I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I'm all for them. Because of scientific advances, any material can be made fire-resistant with a harmless coating of asbestos. Some books don't really stand the test of time, making them a perfect upcycling material. Smells funny. History stinks. Instead of carrying around crusty old ideas, why not carry around a brand new upcycled book bag? Imagine this. This book, no pages, fabric on the inside, tiny wooden handles. Let's do it. To get the book ready to be transformed, we're gonna need to take out all of the pages with a sharp knife. Then cut out some fabric to fit inside the book. These handles are totally wood and totally great. We've got thread and needle, fabric, wooden handles, scissors, fabric glue, and our trusty book. And I also have this sharp knife. It sounds complicated, but it's not. I can sew. Let's build. This part of the book is called the spine, and that's where we're gonna cut the pages out. I don't even feel bad. Well, the content of the book is removed, but the cover of the book still kind of seems like a book. So take a piece of paper, putting it on its side, and I will trace it out. Look at my beautiful triangle stencil. Let's cut it. Now I'm going to transfer my stencil onto the fabric. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that out. We need not one, but two of these. If you flip your triangle, you'll have less waste. You know what they say, waste scones, eat toast. Space triangles. We're gonna fold them in half at the center, cut them, and then sew them back together to make a big space triangle again. I know that sounds redundant, but we're doing it because we want the fabric not to bunch when we close our book. I'm gonna cut some 3-inch pieces of fabric. These 4 strips will be used to keep the handles on. I'm going to trace the outline of the book to put some fabric on the inside of it. Let's talk fabric. My mom's from here, and my dad is from here, and I was conceived over here, and this is where we live now, Earth. I'm going to use fabric glue to put on the triangles. It's handle time! We are putting the fabric through the handle, to which we are going to sew, and then we're going to glue onto the book. Time to go to Glue City. We had a lot of really nice convenience stores in Glue City. Time to put this big piece on. Lots of glue. I've never heard anyone say, "Stop, that's too much glue!" in Glue City. Now comes the awkward part. You have to put these guys on at the same time. I heard you're supposed to do it with a friend, but I don't have any friends.
I'm your friend.
So let's give it a try. And it looks like it's done. Looking pretty cute, I would say. Maybe let's try putting some stuff in it. It works. Let's test it out by walking a fashion show. I did anything differently, I'd probably pick a better book. Oh, I know what I would do different. I'll build it upside down.
Everyone can create, but we can all use a little bit of inspiration. It's That DIY Show.
Hey, Viewer's Choice. I really want to become more of a green thumb, but I just moved into an apartment building with a tiny balcony. I want it to be my green oasis. Do you guys have any ideas?
Hey, I might not be the best person to tackle this problem. Every plant I touch dies. Come on, buddy. Don't die. 1, 2. Stay with me! That wasn't a very good idea. I do have a great design for a space-saving plant holder that's gonna green up that tiny balcony of yours and look cool at the same time. All we need is a bit of PVC pipe and some steel wire. I got a measuring tape, permanent marker, and a length of PVC pipe. It's gonna measure and mark out 2 24-inch long sections, and those are gonna be the bodies of our planters. And now I just have to head over to the chop saw and cut them up. Often when you're cutting PVC on the chop saw, you're not gonna get perfectly clean cuts, but that's okay because we're gonna use end caps, so it's gonna cover that up. The next step, we're gonna cut a channel out of the top of the pipe with a jigsaw. I'm gonna use this sanding disc to trace a half circle, and then I'll just connect the dots. I need to jigsaw out these channels, and to do that, I'm gonna have to drill a pilot hole to get my blade in there. Now's a good time for us to visualize how this is gonna work. Now, this is gonna be a hanging plant holder, and there's gonna be a piece of steel cable that goes through both of them. So in order to do that, I have to drill holes through the top and the bottom of each piece. Okay, our next step is putting the end caps on the pipes. And this brings me to one of my least favorite parts of working with PVC pipe. You have to use this PVC adhesive. This stuff's highly toxic industrial solvent. For our application, we're just gonna use regular old glue. We don't have to mess around with this nasty stuff. Time for some paint. I'm going with a bright yellow. This is gonna attract lots of bees to our garden, and that's a good thing. First coat's done. Just gotta let this dry. What can I do while I wait? I know, I can keep my little plant alive. Is it working? No. I think I have a better way to spend my time while that paint dries. I need to cut this wire down to length. To do that, I'm gonna use a grinder and I'm gonna clamp it down. Oops, I hit the workbench with the grinder. It's fine. It's time to thread the wire through the pipes, put on the ferrules, that will be the stops. Check these little ferrules out. They're made of soft enough metal that you can just squeeze them right on the wire. You just have to gently squeeze them. Should have had a bigger breakfast this morning. I'm glad that's over with. Wait, it's not. I still have to make the 2 hooks at the top so it can hang off something. For that, I'm using a double ferrule. All this thing needs now is some plants and some soil. I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. The plants have really taken it to a next level. It actually hangs straight, which I was worried about a little bit, and I'm really glad I painted it yellow. I have this great workshop with all these amazing tools, but you don't need all of that to build something like this at home. All you need is a little bit of creativity. So if you're looking for inspiration for a project, track down the Viewer's Choice team in the streets, submit your question. Always happy to help out.
Around the world and right around the corner, DIYers and master crafters have something to show and a story to tell.
To become a master artisan, you have to be interested in teaching, giving back to the community, teaching others to follow you. I'm Philip Doucette, and I'm a master glass artisan. trail of my career was that I took a course in 1985 from a friend. He's a stained glass artist, and he was doing the windows for our church. So I took that course and then studied for 2 years, reading books and trying techniques. Then he hired me to help him on a very large architectural window that he was doing, and I worked as his assistant for 6 months, and at the end of it, I became quite interested in the idea of putting glass together in a heated environment like a kiln, and started making sculptural objects using fusing, and became very proficient in those. At each stage of my work, there was a possibility that I would slip into a certain very repetitive but quite commercially lucrative type of work. Each time I thought I was going to run out of steam in a particular area, something new challenged me. I'm quite diversified as an artist, which actually keeps it very fresh. Glass is an interesting material. It's made up of fine white sand. It has soda and lime. These are a necessary element of eye protection. The sodium content in the glass burns off slightly and produces a huge bright yellow flare. When you wear these, that flare is filtered out. Plus, girls think they're really cool. When I became interested in fusing glass, then you had to buy a special glass. So it expands and contracts at the same rate so it doesn't crack. And from that glass, you can make bowls, dishes, all kinds of fused objects. So the process, for instance, of me making a glass ornament is to use a little stainless steel tube. You wrap the glass around the end of the tube. It's like a little ball. It's about the size of a marble. And then turn it so that the glass is pointed down and gently puff into the rod. You have to bring it down to room temperature, and you do that in a specially designed oven called a kiln. About 5 hours later, you can open up the kiln, and there are 7 ornaments. It's interesting the way people will take an object and use it as a platform to access their own emotion. You know, I've watched the attachment develop, and I really enjoy actually bringing that into the world. The very difficult part is whether you have the ability to take your internal vision and externalize it. That's the hard part. I have the first bead that I ever made. I have a stained glass panel that I made, and you allow yourself to be emotionally attached to a few things. But everything else you have to think of as your children, who you've prepared as best as possible, and then you send them out into the world to make other people happy. I like making things that are pretty and well made, but I like making people happy too. You feel like you're leaving a legacy.